Rome will lose the faith and become the seat of the Antichrist. The church will be in eclipse. This isn't from some modern conspiracy theory. This is a direct quote from a secret given by the Virgin Mary herself to a young shepherd girl in 1846. A secret so terrifying, the Vatican tried to bury it for over a century. What did she warn us about? And why is it more relevant now than ever before? To understand the warning, you have to understand where it came from. Not a grand cathedral, but a desolate mountain peak near the village of La Salette in France. The year is 1846. Our witnesses are not theologians or scholars. They are two children, 15-year-old Mélanie and 11-year-old Maximin. They were poor, uneducated, and by all accounts, unremarkable. They barely knew their catechism. They were nobodies. And that's exactly why what happened next is so profound. While their cows rested, the children saw it. A globe of light, brighter than the sun, resting in a dry ravine. As they approached, the light opened, and inside was a woman, a beautiful lady sitting on a rock, her face in her hands, weeping. Her appearance was unlike anything they'd ever seen. She was royalty in a place of poverty. On her chest, she wore a brilliant crucifix, but on one side of the cross was a hammer, and on the other, a pair of pincers. Symbols of our sins nailing Christ to the cross, and our good deeds trying to remove the nails. She spoke to them in their local dialect, her voice filled with sorrow. She first gave a public message, a warning that everyone could hear. She wept for the sins of the people, for widespread blasphemy, for people working on Sundays, for a loss of faith that was causing a spiritual sickness. She warned of a coming famine, that the potatoes would rot and the grapes would fail. A prophecy that came terrifyingly true that very winter. This public message was a warning shot. But the real reason for her visit was a secret. After giving the public warning, the lady spoke to each child individually. First to Mélanie, then to Maximin. She entrusted each of them with a piece of a secret, warning them not to reveal it. The pressure on these two children was immense. The story of the apparition spread like wildfire. They were interrogated, threatened, and offered bribes. For 5 years, they kept their silence. Finally, in 1851, under direct orders from their bishop, they wrote down their respective secrets. The documents were sealed and hand-delivered to Rome, placed directly into the hands of Pope Pius IX. It said that when the Pope read Mélanie's secret, his face went pale. He understood its gravity. But the world would not learn its contents for decades to come. Maximin's secret was relatively short and was revealed without much controversy. But Mélanie's was the bombshell. In 1879, with the approval of her local bishop, she published the full secret. And it was an earthquake. It wasn't about failing crops anymore. It was about the failure of the church itself. She warned, in the lady's name, that priests, ministers of her son, had become cesspools of impurity through their love of money, honors, and pleasures. She said that the chiefs, the leaders of the people of God, have neglected prayer and penance, and the demon has obscured their intelligence. It was a direct indictment of the clergy, from the lowest priest to the highest echelons. The prophecy then takes an even darker turn. It speaks of the birth of the Antichrist. But first, a forerunner. The secret states that a Protestant nation from the north will convert, and through this nation, others will return to the faith. This will be followed by a period of false peace. But during this time, the warning says the forerunner of the Antichrist, with his troops from several nations, will fight against the true Christ. It warns of false wonders everywhere, because the true faith has been extinguished. It speaks of a time when people will believe anything they are told, a time of profound spiritual deception, where evil is disguised as good, and demons appear as angels of light. And then comes the most shocking and controversial part of the entire secret, the part that led to it being suppressed. The prophecy declares, point blank, Rome will lose the faith and become the seat of the Antichrist. Let that sink in. The very heart of Christendom, the eternal city, prophesied to become the global headquarters for the ultimate evil. The secret continues. The church will be in eclipse. The world will be in dismay. It speaks of a time when the Holy Father will suffer greatly, and the church will be handed over to persecution. This wasn't just a prediction of hardship. It was a prediction of a total inversion, a hollowing out of the faith from its very center. The prophecy concludes with a description of the end times, a series of horrifying chastisements upon the earth. It warns of wars, famines, and plagues. It says, fire from heaven will fall and consume 3 cities. The sun will be darkened. The stars will lose their regular motion. The moon will only reflect a faint reddish light. Water and fire will convulse the globe, causing mountains and cities to be swallowed up. It's a vision of total cosmic and terrestrial breakdown, a final, terrible cleansing of the earth before the final victory of God. It's a vision that echoes the book of Revelation, but delivered to a poor shepherd girl on a lonely mountain. So what did the Vatican do with this terrifying prophecy? When Mélanie published the full version in 1879, the reaction from Rome was swift. The Holy Office, the very same body that ran the Inquisition, placed her book on the index of forbidden books. It was officially condemned. Why? The official reason was that a holy secret should not be freely published and sold. But many believe the real reason was the prophecy's direct attack on the clergy and its horrifying prediction about Rome itself. It was too scandalous, too dangerous. For decades, the official church position was to focus only on the original public message of 1846 about prayer and penance, and to treat the secret as, at best, an unapproved and potentially exaggerated private revelation. But a message this powerful doesn't just disappear. Today, the secret of La Salette is more widely discussed than ever. Believers see its prophecies unfolding right now. They point to corruption scandals within the church, to widespread apostasy, to a world consumed by materialism and deception, and they see the words of the weeping lady coming true. Whether you believe it's a literal message from heaven or a fascinating piece of 19th century apocalyptic folklore, you can't deny its power. It asks us to look at our world and question what we see. Is the faith being lost? Are we being deceived by false wonders? Is Rome, is the world, in danger of becoming something it was never meant to be? The secret on that lonely mountain still echoes, waiting for an answer. What part of this prophecy do you find the most chilling? The warning about the clergy, the rise of the Antichrist, or the fate of Rome itself? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to explore more hidden prophecies, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching.